Okay, what's going on there, guys? So, yesterday I did a bunch of body part replacements on the Mustang or Death Stang, and it went pretty well. I grabbed the parts that I needed. The driver's side left fender is still a little tweaked, but I'm gonna live with it because there's a plastic trim cover that covers most of it, so I'm not really all that concerned. You know, I can't really be too picky on a nearly 25-year-old car. You know, you gotta get what you gotta get, you know. But I'll assess that and I'll show you what that looks like once I show you the body parts that I replaced. The car is sitting right behind me right now. So the bumper core support was what I was most afraid of, or most scared of trying to address and fix, and she damaged it pretty well. But I managed to tweak it back pretty good to where the bumper support is now completely straight again. So I'm happy about that. The bumper sits just fine too. I got a new bumper. It's pretty much the same exact one. I actually didn't realize it. I mean, I knew they made an aftermarket bumper, but I didn't realize mine that I used to have on the car and the one that's currently on my car are both aftermarket bumpers. You'll know the difference between an SN95 bumper of 94 to 98 based off of, if you check underneath the bumper, you'll see like holes cut out. I think that is a stock bumper, whereas mine doesn't have those holes cut out. And that's how you can usually tell the difference between a stock and a stock bumper, or stock and aftermarket bumper, sorry. But yeah, let me get right into this and explain exactly what I did. And yeah, so let's go ahead. Alrighty, so this is what the car now currently looks like. So I just washed it, so the hood is actually not shiny and glistening like that. It's actually still the matte finish on the hood. But the bumper and the driver's side left fender have been replaced, and they are a glossy black finish that I took out of pick apart. Obviously I'm going to be doing the body work, so this car is actually going to look a lot worse than it currently does now. I just gave it a wash because the bumper and the driver's side fender were pretty fucking disgusting in terms of dirt and all that. But once this dries, this isn't going to look nearly as good because there's a lot of scratches in the bumper and things like that. But so the headlight housing has been fixed. Again, the bumper core support that sits behind the bumper has been fixed. She tweaked a lot of things. When I was actually taking off that fender the other day, she tweaked like two of the bolts that sit inside the door. She tweaked those, so I had to bend those back. There was just a lot of things that she tweaked that I had to take some vice grips and really work at the metal and try to tweak it back as best I could. But everything looks pretty good. It looks pretty damn good, if I may say so myself. The headlight housing has also been fixed. I had to recut it so that these headlights would fit in it. Again, if you buy these headlights and you buy them from either eBay or American Muscle, does not matter. They're the same fucking headlight. They're made by Spec D tuning. You will have to cut away at where the turn signal bulb actually goes into the housing, because when you try to screw it into these headlights, there's not enough room to do it, and it'll start pinching the wires. So again, that'll probably be for another video when I put on my new headlights. So what am I going to do in terms of addressing prep work? So now we're going to talk about prep work. What am I going to do to get this car ready for paint? So what I think I'm going to do is just like when I repainted the front bumper, and I gotta say, the cool thing about this bumper too is they came with these weird little mesh grill inserts, which I'll probably paint matte black and the rest of the car maybe gloss black, but I kind of like that addition, which was almost one of the reasons why I bought this bumper. But there's no plastic chips in the bumper, so that's what I was most concerned about, because I don't want to put any body filler on plastic, at least in the flexible spots, because it will not adhere very well. But I'm thinking I'm going to take off the bumper. I'm going to paint it or do the body work separately on the bumper, so that there's no paint chips, there's absolutely nothing, and it looks smoother than a baby's ass once I'm done with it. Like, it's going to be ready, 100% ready for paint, and there's no paint chips, just nothing. And I think I want to take my time with the bumper, because that's the most eye-appealing part of the car. Is, anything that's on the front of the car is the most that people are going to want to look at, right? So you want to make sure that your prep work is pretty damn good on the front of your car. So I think I'm going to take the bumper off separately and really work at it by hand, by sanding it, and just making sure that everything looks good. I am probably going to start taking those grill inserts out too. But I also started taking the emblems off. As you see, the front pony emblem is gone. This one actually came off of a GT Mustang, so part of the GT sticky emblem is still there, but I just fucking sand off the adhesive residue, and as you can see, it's starting to dry up. Now you can really start seeing the scratches in the paint. But I also took off my little skeleton pony on this side of the fender too. And the fortunate part though is this fender is in good shape. I just need to sand it down. So, and if you guys remembered off that blue Mustang I put in my community post, I was hoping to grab the hood for that car and put it on this one, but as you'll see in 2 seconds, I took a short little video clip of me going to the junkyard, and that hood has actually already been taken. Oh, sorry guys, hood's gone. Fuck that bumper, too ricey. But they left the crappy ricey bumper at the bottom, and I didn't really care for that. And I took a look at that bumper, and they didn't even hook it up right to the car. They literally only had it hanging onto the car with like 2 screws, 2 Phillips head screws. I'm surprised that thing didn't fly off on the freeway. So yeah, and there was no way in hell I was going to take it. It's funny because my uncle, he was like, I would have taken the bumper, and he thought that the hood looked more ricey than the actual bumper, and I was like, nah, I think that bumper looks more ricey in my opinion. But yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to be doing. Once I get the rest of my prep work stuff, I'm going to start beginning work on sanding. I think I'm going to start off with the bumper first because that's going to be the most time-consuming part, just making sure that I perfect it as best I can. I'm going to be doing it by hand, of course, because you don't want to use a sander on any soft parts of the car. That includes plastic, fiberglass, and if you remember, if you've done the body work before on your car and you remember where you've put body filler on the car, you may want to sand those by hand, because otherwise if you sand through the paint and you sand through that Bondo that you just put on the car, well, that's fucked, and now you got to redo the body work there. This car is going to be pretty easy to prep other than the bumper here, because the only dings that I'm seeing on my car is the driver's side left door, and that's all I really see in the car in terms of dings. So it's going to be a pretty walk in the park. It's going to be pretty easy to prep up this car. I reckon I probably have it down in probably 2 days tops. 2 days tops, but probably one. I could probably do it all in 1 day. I'm just waiting on the rest of my prep materials, and that includes my mask, because I don't want to breathe any of this shit in. I've breathed in a lot of paints, and when I first did the body work on this car, I breathed in a lot of sanding dust and shit like that, and it's just not healthy to do all that shit. I mean, you could probably end up with like lung cancer and shit. So especially you don't know what's in these paints too. You don't know if there's going to be any lead or anything like that. So that's a scary thought. But yeah, I'm waiting on my mask, I'm waiting on my sander, my sanding pads, and I think that's all I'm waiting on. Everything else I have the body filler, I have the Bondo spreaders, I have my primer, all that shit. So that's literally the only things I'm waiting on. I'm thinking about going back to gloss black on this car. I'm going to create a community post as to what you guys think I should do with this car. Should I go gloss black like the bumper here and the driver's side fender, or do you guys think I should go back to being matte black, which eventually will fade out? That's the problem with matte black paint, is that typically it starts to fade over time with all the UV and shit. But with gloss, the positives is that if I go gloss black, that it is a single stage paint, and I don't have to put a clear coat on it. I could literally just spray it all once and it's done. However, the conundrum with gloss is that it's a lot harder to perfect, in terms of you want to be really careful that you don't get any paint drips, because they are going to show like a motherfucker in the paint. Not only that, if you missed any body work, any dings that you missed on the car, they are going to show 10 times worse than a matte paint job will. And the other thing is if I go gloss, I'm going to have to start doing everything all over again that I already did on the car, which is taking apart all these little trim pieces on the car, because underneath them they're matte. And if you want the car to look as clean as possible, you got to take all this trim off. Even the sail panels, these are a separate piece. These sail panels that go across the car right here, these need to be taken off. The spoiler needs to be taken off. And yeah, it's about how much can you take off the car to make it as clean as possible. if you want a really decent paint job. So yeah, I'll have a little community post, a little poll on my community post, and tell me what you guys think. Do you think I should go gloss black, or do you think I should just go back to being matte black? I'm very curious as to what you guys think. I'm thinking gloss black. I could take the time to do it, I just don't really want to. But I mean, I do miss my gloss black paint job, because this car used to be gloss black before I initially did the body work and painted it. So, but yeah, guys, I would like to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on what the paint should be, and what do you think about the car coming along. It's getting there, but slowly but surely. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.